All right, let's dive into a term that you're probably hearing everywhere in the supply chain world right now: digital twins. There's a ton of buzz, a lot of money being poured into it, but what does this technology actually mean for how we make and move, well, everything?
And that brings us to the big question, right? Is digital twin just the latest industry buzzword, another piece of tech hype that'll fade away? Or is it a genuinely transformative tool that can unlock a whole new level of performance, something you could call hyper-efficiency? Let's dig in and find out.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with the basics. Before we can even talk about the impact, we need to be crystal clear on what a digital twin actually is. And at its core, it's all about building a bridge between the physical world and the digital world.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition, but let's break it down. This isn't just some static 3D model or a fancy blueprint. The key word here is dynamically updated. We're talking about a living virtual copy of a machine, a warehouse, maybe even your entire logistics network that is constantly being fed real-time data. It's a dynamic model of what's happening right now.
I think this is a fantastic way to think about it, a sophisticated mirror image. It just captures the whole idea so well. It's not a still reflection in a pond. It's a mirror that's literally buzzing with information, showing you exactly what's going on in the present, and, as we're about to see, helping you peek into the future. So how does this bridge between the two worlds actually get built? Well, it's a pretty simple but incredibly powerful three-step flow. First, you have sensors on your trucks, on your machinery, on your inventory, and they're collecting data constantly. Second, all that data gets streamed into the digital model. And third, the twin uses that constant flow of information to perfectly mirror the state, the condition, and the behavior of its real-world counterpart.
You know, just mirroring the present is pretty amazing stuff. But the real magic, the real game changer with a digital twin, is its ability to see into the future. And this is where we make that huge leap from just reacting to problems to actually having foresight.
And this is where we get to what's often called the digital sandbox. Just imagine this for a second. You have an identical copy of your supply chain that you can play with. What if a major port shuts down tomorrow? What if a supplier gets delayed by a week? What happens if customer demand suddenly triples? You can run all of these simulations and see exactly how it would play out, all without a single ounce of real-world risk. It's incredible.
When you put it side by side like this, the transformation is just night and day. The old way is all about reacting. You wait for the dominoes to fall and then you scramble to pick up the pieces. With the digital twin, the whole mindset flips. You become proactive. You base your decisions on actual data from simulations, and you can reduce risk before it ever has a chance to mess up your operations. So, when you add it all up, this proactive approach delivers some really concrete benefits. You get true predictive power. You can plan for just about any scenario. You build a much more robust, resilient operation. And of course, all of that leads to lower costs and a supply chain that's just way more agile and responsive to change.
Okay, theory is great. It all sounds good on paper. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's shift gears from the what to the where and see how this technology is already being put into practice today.
In manufacturing, oh man, it's a total game changer. You've got companies creating digital twins of their entire assembly lines to find those hidden little bottlenecks that are slowing everything down. They can tweak settings in the simulation to optimize how a machine performs, and, this is huge, they can predict when a piece of equipment is about to fail before it actually breaks down, saving them from super expensive downtime. Now, in logistics, you gotta think even bigger. We're talking about digital twins of entire fleets of trucks or container ships. By modeling all the routes and factoring in real-time traffic, weather, even congestion at the ports, companies can dynamically reroute and optimize their schedules on the fly. This cuts down fuel costs and makes sure their assets are always working as hard as they possibly can. And this technology drills right down into the warehouse itself. By creating a digital twin of a massive distribution center, managers can test out different layouts for storing goods. They can simulate the most efficient paths for workers or robots to go pick items for an order. I mean, this dramatically speeds up fulfillment and cuts down on operational costs. It's a win-win. So let me give you a really powerful concrete example.
A major car manufacturer, dealing with this insanely complex global network, decided to build a digital twin of its entire supply chain. Their main goal was to use it as a strategic weapon to stress test their whole operation against major disruptions, everything from natural disasters to geopolitical crises.
So what was the payoff? Well, by running all those what-if scenarios, they were able to come up with backup plans and mitigation strategies before they ever needed them. So when the unexpected inevitably happened, they were ready. They kept production lines running, they kept their customers happy, and they saved millions of dollars in potential losses. That's the power of foresight right there.
Okay, now I don't want to make it sound like this is all super easy. It's important to have a balanced view here. While the potential is obviously immense, creating a digital twin isn't as simple as just flipping a switch. So let's talk about some of the real challenges that come with it. You basically run into 4 main hurdles. First, the initial investment in the tech and the expertise you need, it can be pretty substantial. Second, trying to pull data from dozens of different and often much older systems is a huge technical headache. Third, your digital twin is only as good as the data you feed it, so making sure that data is accurate is absolutely critical. And finally, you're dealing with incredibly sensitive operational data, so keeping it all secure is priority number 1.
All right, so we've looked at what it is, the benefits, the real-world applications, and the challenges. So now let's circle all the way back to our original question and try to land on a final verdict, separating the fact from the fiction.
So on the hype side of the ledger, it's a buzzword for sure. And we just talked about it. The upfront investment and the complexity of getting it all working are very real hurdles. But on the hyper-efficiency side, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. We've seen proven real-world impact from major companies. We have a clear path to proactive risk management, and the result is tangible bottom-line savings and a new level of agility.
So the verdict is in. While there's definitely some hype floating around the term digital twin, the technology itself absolutely delivers. It is a genuine transformative tool. This isn't just a passing trend, it's a fundamental shift that is actively reshaping the future of how supply chains are managed.
And that really leaves us with one last thought. The question is no longer if this technology will change the entire supply chain landscape, but when it will be everywhere. So the real question you have to ask is your supply chain ready for its digital reflection? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.